After attempting to attend a celebration for all of their various exploits, where the Master Detective is set to give a speech, a burst of green light causes them to end up in the body of Charles Dalimar, pre-everything he did to Emma in Ravenhurst. While they don't understand how it happened, Master Detective decides to use this as an opportunity to attempt to stop Charles from committing these atrocities before they even occur. This seems to finally be the developers continuing the storyline that was set up in Crossfade. Kind of. While the green energy is once again connected to broken and different timelines, the game that is referenced here is Moths to a Flame, not Crossfade. And still no mention as to why the agent seemed to be possessed at the end of that game, so maybe they just chose to completely abandon that particular plot. Or maybe it'll be brought up again later. Probably not. They've already had 2 other games since this one, and they still haven't addressed it, so my guess is they just decided to completely abandon it. Anyway, I'll take it, even if there is some confusion, but I'll deal with that in a moment. But first, the positives. Once again, we are able to learn a little bit more about Charles, and once again, this game doesn't shy away from how absolutely terrible this man is. There is something cathartic about being able to go back and stop this man from committing all of the atrocities that he's committed over the many, many, many years that he's been going. This game also continues to deal with the idea of alternate realities. We got this a little bit in Crossfade with the Master Detective and the broken timelines that they had to fix, but this one not only explores a little bit more, it also seems to set the road to discuss it even more moving forward. Also, this game introduces us to Robert, an adorable, if slightly evil robot made by Charles. I love Robert. That is all. However, as with most games, there's not just positives. How's that for a segue? As I mentioned, this game brings back that green energy from Crossfade and other games. However, this game makes it clear that Charles knew about it and was experimenting with it. This seems to be slightly retconny and also slightly confusing. I know that there's many talks of alternate realities, but this game seems to imply that Charles always knew about this, despite having no previous indication of it. I know that this comes from having various different companies working on the same series of games, but it just kind of confuses me to act like this has always been a part of Charles' storyline. I suppose an argument could be made that it's that original flash of green light that caused all of this timeline wonkiness, but 1, the game doesn't really make that clear, and 2, if that is what they were going for, it's just kind of lazy writing. There's also a couple of puzzles that I find annoying. Remember the puzzle from a previous game where you have a series of discs that you have to rotate to reveal certain items? Well, this game decided to bring that back, and it's as annoying as ever. More so, because there's more items. In case you don't remember, basically there are 3 discs that you need to rotate to create certain items, and if the discs aren't rotated in the exact way that the game wants it to be, it doesn't count. Even if the item is clearly there and visible, it's not the way the game wants it, so you have to have it the exact way that the game wants it. The other puzzle is the very last one, which is always disappointing if your last puzzle is bad. It's a bit hard to explain, but basically you have this heart that you have to rotate around a series of rings and try to get it into a heart-shaped hole in each ring. You have 3 options for rotating, each with its own direction and amount of rotation. The problem is the game doesn't do a good job of describing the amount of rotation. As in, it doesn't explain it at all, which basically means you have to guess. There's no clear indication of how far the heart is going with each rotation, because there's no markers on the ring or anything, so you just kind of have to guess and hope that it ends up lining up properly, which I was rarely able to do. And again, this is the final puzzle. Charles also talks to you during this, which isn't a bad thing in and of itself, but the problem is the game straight up punishes you for skipping. Yes, I ended up skipping the puzzle because I found it frustrating and no longer fun, but that meant that the game just fully skipped Charles's dialogue, even though the Master Detective ended up referencing it. Which is great, and not at all annoying. Overall, I think this game does a good job of setting up a new direction for the Ravenhurst/Dalimar storyline, which I am excited to see. However, like with a lot of recent games, this game just doesn't do a good job of explaining things. It's almost like they're spending too much time trying to set up sequels and not enough on creating a good standalone game. Also, small things, but this game has a talking cat in it for like 5 seconds. Then you free him and he runs away and you get no other information about it. You don't know why he can talk or even why he was there. because he shows up more in the bonus content, which you need to spend more money on. This is another annoying thing that these later games have been doing, of including things in the main game purely to get you to spend more money on the collector's edition. If you can't make the main game engaging without adding bonus content that we have to spend more money on, maybe stop making games. So yeah, I did enjoy this game. There were just a few annoying things that kind of added up after a while. Still, this is a far better game than the previous one, so it does have that going for it. Overall, I would still give this game a very strong 7 out of 10. So, to my friends and fellow VEDSies, I will see all of you tomorrow.